as long as we're balanced about it. Hi everybody, welcome back to speech. Today we are starting our practice speeches for the process analysis essay, and we're just going to get going on them and see how far we make it today. And then I had a couple students ask if they could go Wednesday, and it just sort of depends on where we are in the schedule. So if you don't make it this week, then you just count next week as your final grade, and that'll be fine. The whole point of this first week is to do some practice and get some feedback so you can fix that for next week. Okay, Mary Ann's coming up first, and the desk camera should be working. Radar, we're going to be using it today? Okay, awesome. Come on up, Mary Ann.
Think about the last time you crammed for a test. Maybe you stare at your notes for hours, reread the textbook 3 times, and still felt unprepared when you walked into the exam room. The truth is, most of us were never taught how to study, just told that we should. Today, I'm going to teach you a proven, science-backed process on how to study efficiently, so you can retain information better, stress less, and actually perform well on exams without wasting time. We'll go through 4 key steps. Number 1, organize and understand your material. Number 2, use active recall. 3, test yourself and apply your knowledge. And 4, support your brain with healthy habits. So number 1, before you can memorize anything, you have to make sense of it. The key to memorize material for exams is to actually understanding it. This is called mechanism learning or true comprehension. A very simple example that I can give you of this is that whenever you're driving, you know you should keep gas in your car. That's not something you memorize. You just know, like, if you want your car to go, you should keep gas in it. So you don't necessarily have to memorize that your car needs gas. You just understand that it won't work without it. Another example I can give you of this is that whenever you first start driving and you have to use your maps to get to places because you don't know where everything's at, you kind of have to plug in the maps to go to just little places, but eventually you start understanding like, oh, like that back road goes to there and that makes a loop, and now you understand you don't have to use your maps anymore. That's another example of mechanism learning. So once you understand something, you don't have to memorize it. So after you organize your material by going over your lecture notes and use mechanism learning to understand the main ideas, you can move on to using active recall, which is your step 2. Active recall is when you test yourself on material to see what you already know. You do this by listing out a subject and writing everything you already know about it. This works because your brain strengthens memory whenever you have to pull information out, not when you're rereading it or rewriting it. So a common mistake that many students will make is before an exam or a test, they'll just reread their lecture notes or just try to write everything out on the lecture and be like, okay, I'm good, I'm done. And it may feel productive, but you're not actually increasing your memory retention. So you can list out a topic and then write everything you know about it, and then the things you didn't know about it, you can hone in on that topic. So after active recall, you can move on to actual practice and quiz yourself on real exam-style questions, and practice multiple choice or explain ideas as if you're the teacher. So a pro tip is whenever you're studying and actually organizing your material, highlight concepts you know are going to be on the test or concepts that you know are trouble topics for you. So that way, whenever you actually start making your practice questions or you plug into ChatGPT, hey, give me however many questions for this exam, you can tell it to give you questions on topics that you may have trouble with, so you're not wasting your time. Additionally, make sure you're checking the answer key after you're done going through these multiple choice questions so that you know what you got wrong, why you got it wrong, and you don't make the same mistake again when you do it for your test. Alternatively, if you don't want to make all those practice questions, you can use the teach back method. So basically the topic that you're learning about, just tell your friend about it, and it causes you to pull that information out from your brain, increasing your memory retention. And then if you're having trouble teaching your friend about it, you also know the topics you need to understand more for your exam. Studying isn't just about what you do with your notes, it's also about how you support your brain. So before your test, make sure you have at least 7 hours of sleep. And whenever you're actually studying for it, make sure you're incorporating breaks. A popular method is the Pomodoro technique. You can do 25 minutes of focus work, 5 minutes off, or 50 minutes of focus work, 10 minutes off, just whatever you like. And then your environment is extremely important. Eliminate all distractions and make sure that you're studying in a quiet, dedicated space. So a lot of times whenever I study, I will leave my phone and go to the library and just leave it in my apartment because it's a big distractor for me. So in closing, to study efficiently, remember these 4 steps. Number 1, organize and understanding material by using mechanism learning. Number 2, practice active recall. Figure out what you know, what you don't know, and hone in on the topics that you have trouble with so you're not wasting your time. And then number 3, test yourself and apply what you've learned. Practice exams, questions, and then the teach back method. And 4, support your brain with healthy habits leading up to the exams. Studying efficiently isn't just a skill that you'll use in college. Being able to have memory retention will help you throughout your career and the rest of your life. So the next time you sit down to study, don't just stare at your notes. Follow these steps and study smarter, not harder. Thank you for listening. Are there any questions?
Where's your visual?
Yeah, so I forgot my visual. No, I have it. I just forgot to mention it during my exam. So I realized it, but I wasn't gonna try and mess myself up.
Okay.
But I do have my visual. It was just an example of how you can use active recall. I do have to use a desk
Yeah,
cam.
can we put the the desk cam on, please?
Okay, so here's an example of active recall. A lot of people, when they make flashcards, they'll usually put the term, and then on the back of it, they'll have all of their definition that they need to learn. So active recall is, you can see I have this definition here, and I have some words, like important words that I would need to know for my exam, kind of blocked out. So whenever I flip the card over, they bold. And that's just like an example. Instead of putting the definition and then having to memorize the entire sentence, it's really hard to do that. It's easier to do this, and you perform better on exams when you study like this. And then I included an image because that's what helps me as well. So that was my example. I meant to show it during, but for next time I'll know. I just kind of skipped over it, and then I realized, and then I didn't want to mess myself up.
Sure,
So,
understandable.
Yes.
All right, let's give her a hand. We'll just bring that in earlier next time. Well, that's why we practice. Okay, Jasmine's up next. Do you need a partner for this of any type?
No.
Okay.
Do you want me to put the stuff on the glove and everything?
Whatever, however you want it. If today you don't want to do the whole thing, you're just gonna kind of simulate it for the practice, that's okay.
Okay, I'll do that.
Boil it up twice.
Yeah, let's not do that. Okay. Have you ever bought yourself a softball or baseball glove and needed it to be breaking in, but don't know how? Well, today I'll show you the steps in the process how to do so. This is important because as an ex-softball player, I can tell you that in order to play a good catch pop flies, and stop ground balls, having a good ball or a good glove that is flexible and stretch, it will help you meet these requirements. Today I'll go over the steps how to break in the glove with rubber bands, a softball and a glove, and some glove oil. And while I'm going over these steps, I'll explain why it's important. The first step, you want to grab your glove. Put that over there. And your glove oil. You put the oil on top of the leather, and I call this the web of the glove. You put it on top, that will help it break it in easier and a little faster. You can use your hands, but it's kind of a gross feeling, so you can use like a napkin or gloves or whatever. The oil will help it from breaking over time. It also help with the grip, with the gripping inside. So this is clearly broken in, but it'll help with the gripping to catch the ball as I'm catching it or I'm catching a pop fly. It'll also make it easier to break, which then leads into my next step, is putting the softball or baseball into the glove. You just put it in the web, like so, and then it folds over. The next step, you'll take a rubber band. Oop. All fall out at the same time. You'll take a rubber band and you put it on the glove. Like so. This will help mold it into being able to catch the ball that you need to catch. And it just sits there with the leather, with the oil on and the ball in for about 2 to 5 days. That's an estimated time. It might be a little longer, so estimate it to like a week and a half. Another way to break it in is after playing catch, or just when you're playing catch, you can put it like this. That's another way to help it stretch out. That'll help it stretch to where, again, you can catch the ball. And that's about it. Any questions?
Still playing?
No.
Gonna play in the future as like adult rec league or anything like that?
I've thought about it, yeah. I've been invited, but I have to work and everything, so
No time
it's
right
into
now.
it, yeah.
All right, good. Now, here, I do have this question for you. What's your wider application or global context? So if you learn to do this,
Mhm.
you can,
It'll help you be able to play more efficiently.
okay,
I always struggled with catching a ball because my glove wasn't squeezable. It made it hard. So it was easier to break it in, and the more time that you squeeze it, I played more efficient in games and practices, et cetera, et cetera.
and then I think that that's good. Of course, a wider application would be maintaining one's equipment for any sport is important. So you should learn how to take care of your own gear and not depend on somebody else or something like that.
Yeah.
So you move it out of the sport and make it a wider global thing. So that's good. Okay, anybody else? All right, let's hear it for Jasmine. Way to go. Good job. See who else is coming up. Grace, what you bring for us today?
I changed my ideas.
You changed, all right. The intrigue, the mystery, the suspense. What's it gonna be?
Have you ever needed to have a gift for somebody, but you're a little short on money? I have, and one of the things I like to do is I like to make homemade gifts. So today I'm going to show you how to make beaded bracelets, and in particular, I'm wearing some right now. If we could use the desk camera.
Yep, desk camera, radar, please.
So I'm wearing some right now. I don't know if you could see, but they're like these little flowers. So I'm going to show you guys how to make those today. And they're a great gift for a birthday or Mother's Day or things like that. So the things you'll need is beads, which I brought some today. And you'll also need string, which you can't really see it, it's clear, but there that is. And then you'll also need scissors, and I went ahead and I pre-cut my string before I got here, that way you wouldn't have to watch me cut it. And then one of the important things is when you're cutting the string, you'll want to make sure you make it longer than you think you need, because these little flowers are essentially loops, and so when you're looping the string, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller. So if you cut it like you think the length of your wrist, then it'll actually be really small, probably about like that big, and not what you need. And another thing that's important is when you start, you want to take your string and you want to make a little loop on the end. So you'll just do a simple knot, if I can do it just like that, and that ensures that your beads don't slide off the end while you're making it, because that's always really frustrating when you're in the middle of something and then it just slides off and you have to start over. So to start, you'll just pick 4 beads that are the color of the petals that you want to make. So I'll do red, and you just slide them right on the string. And sometimes these beads like to stick together, so you just have to make sure either you can break them apart with your fingers, or if they get stuck a little worse, you can always use like you can just like hit them on the table or use a hammer or something. So once you have the 4 beads of your petal, you'll want to pick the color of your center, and you'll put that one right on top. So once it looks like this, you have your 4 petals and you have your center. You'll take the end of your string closest to the center color, and you'll just stick it through that last petal bead, just like that. And you'll want it to look something like this. And then you just pull it through, and you have half of your flower just like that. And then to finish off your flower, you'll just take 2 more beads of your petal color. And you can also use different colors. I just think it looks better when the center is one color and then all the beads are the same color. So once you have those last 2 beads, you'll just take the end of your string again, and this last bead closest to the center, you'll just stick it through, just like that, and you pull it through, and you have your flower. It's just that simple. It takes about, I don't know how long that took me, like a few seconds, and you just keep making them until you have a bracelet. And then I also brought, because I didn't want you guys have to watch me make a whole bracelet, so I made one last night, and so I made this last night just like while I was watching TV. It's just mindless and it's really easy to do, and so I'm going to show you how to tie it off once you finish the bracelet. So, and these flowers, they can also slide. So if you need to move it down to where you have more string on the end, you can just slide the whole flower down and just pull both ends of the string to tighten it back up. So you'll take both ends of your string just like that, and you'll grab them and then just make another loop. So you'll cross them over each other. Sorry, I know it's kind of hard to see, but you'll just cross it over to where you have it like this. So they're crossed over like that, and then you just make another little simple knot and just pull it through just like that. And you pull it tight, and then I like to do it just a couple more times just to make sure it doesn't break. And then after you do that, just a couple more times, then your bracelet is sturdy and it's not going to break, and you can just slide it on just like that. And then I like to take the extra time and just cut the ends of the string off just so you don't have like strings sticking off the end of your bracelet. And I don't think I tied this one quite enough because it looks like it's about to explode. But that's also why you want to cut the ends off, because see, it just came undone. And so when you cut the ends, it's less likely to break open like that. So that is everything you need to know about making these bracelets. And you can also, if you want to make them bigger or smaller, you can make, you can make them just one, and you can do like a little ring, just like that. And you know, if someone doesn't like wearing bracelets, likes wearing rings, you could do something like that. Or you can also make them bigger and make like something as big as a necklace, like that. And it's just a really simple gift to make somebody, birthday, Mother's Day, what mom doesn't like a homemade gift from their kid. So, and if you don't have a lot of money, you can buy a kit of beads like this for usually they're on sale, so you can buy it for like $10 and the string's like $3. And this has lasted me for years. And so you can make tons of gifts for people for not a lot of money. So, any questions?
I think that global context is there because you've brought up making gift. You can use this process if you're low on cash and give people gifts that are nice that you didn't have to spend a lot of money on. So I like that because you have the local concept, which is making the beaded bracelets, but then the wider global context is making gifts inexpensively that are personalized and something you made and didn't buy. So I think that was good too. Anybody else? Questions? All right, let's get right in. Yay, very good. Nice job, Grace. Caden is up next.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Have you ever tried swinging a golf club only for the ball to roll a few feet or not move at all? You're not alone. The golf swing may look simple, but in my opinion, it's really hard to master. Today, I'll be walking you through the process of swinging a golf club. This is important because whether you're just starting out or want to improve, mastering the basics sets the foundation for success in golf. Here's what I'll cover: how to grip the club, stance, backswing, and the follow through. Okay, I have a paper.
Okay.
Gosh, it's gonna be hard.
That's good.
Okay. Okay, for the first step, learning how to hold the golf club. I like to interlock my pointer finger and my pinky, and that's just how I was taught. But it's your personal preference. This step is necessary because the grip controls the angle of the club face. and the club face controls where the ball goes. Okay. Now that you got your grip, you need to line up properly. Stand shoulder width apart with your knees slightly bent and your weight balanced. Position the ball, depending on the club, more towards the center for shorter irons and slightly forward for drivers. This step builds directly on your grip. Without balance and alignment, even a perfect grip won't help. A common mistake here is locking your knees and hunching your back, which takes away power and accuracy. Next comes the most critical motion, the backswing. Rotate your shoulders and hips smoothly while keeping your eyes on the ball. Your lead arm should stay straight but relaxed. Think of it as a wind-up spring. This is where your power comes from. Don't rush. Beginners often swing too fast, losing both balance and control. A slow, smooth backswing sets you up for a strong hit. And there. Finally, complete the motion with your downswing. Follow through, transfer your weight to your front foot, strike the ball with the center of the club face, and let your body naturally rotate forward. To know you have completed your swing, your chest should be facing forward, as just like in that picture. I hope you guys have learned something from this and get the chance to try golf. Are there any questions?
Do you play high school golf?
I did. I don't anymore. I just play in tournaments now.
So like
Yeah.
local
Yeah.
state tournaments?
Yeah.
What's your lowest score?
73.
Okay. Anybody else? All right, so here you go, Kendall. And I forgot to ask you the question, but I meant to ask you about the wider application or global context. So if you can discipline yourself to learn something as complicated as a golf swing, you can also learn other complicated tasks. So you want something like that at the end.
Okay.
Popping along here, Alyssa is next.
It might take me a minute because I have to carry this stuff.
Let me help you. Or David, spin around there.
Can you just
Help
carry
Alyssa.
this and I'll get the heavy part? This is just my saddle pad and my saddle rack. This is. Just
Off to the side. And Radar, you might get a little wider shot up there on the front of the room so you can get her saddle stuff.
forgot my note card.
Do it on time. Good. Okay. 23.
Have you ever seen somebody jump on a horse only for the saddle to slip or the horse to freak out? Most of the time the problem isn't the horse, it's actually the saddling process. Today I'm going to explain to you how to properly saddle a horse. My purpose is to show you the step-by-step process, but also why the steps are important leading up to saddling. Sorry. The step-by-step process is important because it's for safety and for comfort. Saddling might look simple, but it's the foundation for the entire ride. Sorry. The first step is preparation. Before reaching for the saddle, you need to groom your horse. Brushing the backsides, everything. So for your first step would be a curry comb, which is just a thick brush, and you would use circular motions to bring all the dirt to the surface. And then you would use a hard bristled brush and brush it off, and then a softer brush to get the rest of it off. Because even a rock, like underneath your saddle, could cause a sore, and it would just make it very painful for your horse. And your horse could freak out if there was something underneath your saddle pad. And it would just be bad for you because your horse would throw you off or all the things. Next comes your saddle pad, which actually acts as a cushion. Place it gently on your horse's back. slightly forward of their withers, which is right below their neck. And this is so say this is your horse's, this would be your horse's withers, and you want this to be directly like aligning with that. This hole right here would align with the withers. And of course your horse would be a lot taller, so that would be, is also different. But after your saddle pad is placed, you would go behind the withers. It can't be too far forwards because it will pinch the horse's neck and it could cause nerve damage. Next comes your saddle. So your saddle just needs to be directly placed over this. It needs to make sure it's in the center because you're going to be leaning one way or the other if it's not. And then after that, you're going to come. You don't want to walk in front of your horse, so you want to go behind it, but either way. So next comes cinching after you put your saddle on, and this is just, you use this is called a girth. It just goes underneath your horse's stomach, and then this is called the cinch. Mine's not broken in because this isn't my saddle I actually ride in most of the time. But this is just called a Texas T-knot, and it goes, you thread this through. Sorry. I planned on bringing my other saddle today, but my parents just went to New Mexico for a rodeo circuit. So my actual good saddle was in the trailer I didn't get to it before they left. So this is a Texas T-knot. You simply just run it through. You want to make like an Oreo. You're going to have a double stuffed Oreo. Actually, it's going to have 4 layers. So that's 2. This will be 3. And then when it comes up again, you're just going to tie that Texas T-knot. So you run to the shoulders, then you'll come back to the backside, run it through up to the sky and down. And that simply secures your saddle so it doesn't fall off while you're riding. You want to make sure that that's tight enough to where your saddle isn't going to fall off, but you should be able to fit 2 fingers snugly between the cinch and your horse's stomach. Sometimes mine usually has a back cinch on it. That one doesn't need to be as tight, but it can't be loose that the hoof can get stuck in it if the horse decides it's going to rear behind it. I usually have a breast collar on. That just keeps your saddle from moving backwards if you're doing like fast-paced events like I do, like barrel racing or pole bending. Finally, do a quick check. Run your hand under the pad, make sure there isn't any wrinkles or rocks or anything that you missed the first time. And check your cinch one last time before you actually get on, because some horses are stubborn and they will like puff out their chest when you cinch them up the first time because they know it's coming. They know that it's going to be tighter. So before you get on, you just need to check it one more time. And a calm pat to reassure your horse that you are ready and it's time to go. So, to review, saddling a horse involves 5 main steps: prepping the horse, setting the saddle pad, placing the saddle, tightening the cinch, and doing a final check. Each step has a purpose: protecting your horse's comfort and the rider's safety. When done correctly, saddling isn't just about putting on equipment, it's about responsibility, respect, and setting the stage for a smooth, enjoyable ride. Any questions?
And by learning how to do something like this, what else does that prepare you for you in life?
Responsibility and step-by-step structure.
Okay, good. All right, let's give her a hand. Way to go. Okay, Bailey is up next.
Did you know that crochet is made up almost entirely of math? Every stitch, row, and measurement have to be perfectly calculated in order to get the correct fit. Not only is crochet a fun hobby to have, it's also an easy way to make your own clothing. Today we'll start by looking at the process of measurements, how to dissect a pattern, avoiding shrinkage, and finally how to create a custom piece. The first step to any crochet project is going to be understanding measurements as a whole. If you've ever struggled to find your exact size in clothing, you're not alone. In fact, 62% of shoppers claim that they struggle to find their clothing that fits well. One of the main reasons why clothing from stores don't always fit right is because they're designed for the average body. In other words, brands focus on creating pieces that can fit anybody rather than prioritizing quality over quantity. As a result, clothing is usually sized in broad categories like small, medium, or large. These sizes can work for many people, but they rarely fit perfectly or even look good. So if you're looking to get that perfect fit, it's worth making your own clothes. When making custom clothing, you need to account for all measurements, like you want to measure your hips, your waist, shoulders, height, and other unique characteristics. This is where crochet can come in handy. Crochet is one of the simplest forms of clothing making, and it's also low risk, because if you mess up, you can always unravel and start again. So, once you understand your personal measurements, you can copy and recreate pieces you like to fit you perfectly. So, if I can use the camera. Okay, this is a picture of a bikini I saw online that I really liked, but I didn't want to pay $30 for it, and I wasn't sure if it was going to fit correctly. So what I did was I studied this photo, and it's hard to see, but you can kind of tell which stitches were used. These are double crochet stitches, and you just make this square shape to make your bikini. So what I did was I just made this myself by using my own measurements. And a trick I have is you can actually paste a picture like this into ChatGPT, and it will tell you exactly which stitches were used where, and you can create your own patterns. So you don't always need a written pattern. You can reverse engineer a piece by observing stitches and construction. One of the biggest mistakes a beginner can make is not accounting for shrinkage. Shrinkage happens when your stitches tighten and the finished fabric ends up smaller than your original starting size. This can happen due to the stitches you use, such as single crochets and half double crochets, which are more prone to shrinking, and the yarn you use can also play a big part in this. Like, cotton yarn is more prone to tightening compared to acrylic. So the solution would be making a test swatch. A swatch is just a small sample square you make using the same stitches and yarn that you'll use in your project. This is the easiest way to preview your piece before actually making it. And when you make it, you can also calculate how many stitches per inch to make to get a more accurate measurement. For example, if your square turned out 3 inches long and it was 15 chains, that's about 5 chains per inch. So when you translate that into your project, if you need a 20-inch piece, you would do 100 chains. So with this method, you can avoid the frustration of projects turning out too small, and you can ensure that your piece fits exactly. So now that you understand measurements, patterns, and shrinkage, you can now create your own pieces. So going back to that picture, I did make it myself, and this is how it turned out. And it's my own pattern. I didn't use any written instructions, and that was just by using ChatGPT in the picture. So altogether, this costs you about $5 to make compared to $30 if I were to buy it online. And it's better fitting than if I were to buy a generic size. So with measurements and some math, you can make your own custom patterns to how you like it. So today we've covered the science behind measurements, finding inspo, how to calculate shrinkage, and finally how to create a pattern using your own measurements. With crochet, you're making pieces that are custom to your body, sustainable for the environment, and often far cheaper and longer lasting than fast fashion. So the next time you see a piece online that you really like but don't want to spend money on, consider making it yourself. All you need is yarn, a hook, and a calculator. Any questions?
What would you say the wider application or global context of this is, learning this skill?
It saves you a lot of money,
Okay,
and it's better for the environment.
okay, good. All right, anybody else? Let's give her a hand. And I want to ask you, coming back down here, you slowed way down, so that was much better than your previous ones. Every now and then you'd hit the gas and you'd speed up a little bit here and there, but I think consciously you knew to slow down a little bit, so that was good. Okay, let's see. Okay, we're Hunter. Ready to go today?
Yeah.
Awesome. David, are you ready to talk to us today?
Yeah.
Stop. there.
Did you know that uninflated tires cause thousands of accidents every year and waste millions of gas? Well, checking your tire pressure is one of the easiest ways to prevent a blowout or anything like that from happening. So you don't waste as much gas, you don't get up on the side of the road. It takes about 2 minutes. You use, may I have the visual aid? I don't have the thing at the moment, but this is a PSI. It checks the PSI of the tire, checks the tire pressure. You check it by using it on the tire stem, like so. Though I can't show you in person, because I can't wheel an entire tire.
Sure you could.
I could, but I'd have to get it off my own car. It's really important. I have 3 certifications in automotives, so that's what my backing is on this topic, is I feel like everybody should know so they're safe from a blowout or anything like that, because I mean it's a 2-minute process. You just go out and grab one of your, like, if I can remember what the tool's name is at the moment. I'm gonna say it's a tire pressure gauge. Yes, tire pressure gauge. That is what it's called. And it just takes 2 minutes. You go and unscrew the valve cap and you put it in and you check if you want it roughly 32 to 35 PSI. It'll come out normally, or you'll have a gauge on some of them. But normally on the one I showed you, it'll show the PSI as it coming out. It should be roughly 32 to 35 PSI. Normally, you'll see a thing you'll see a picture in your driver's side door panel with the tire pressures, like the gauges that it wants on there. Any questions?
I was just going to ask you, where
Yes,
can
sir.
you look to find out how much air you should have in your tire? And then you went into describing that, there's a little sticker on the
Yes,
door
sir.
frame right by your seat, so you can look and see how much you need. So I think that's what you're referring to. So you might bring that up. How about the wider context of this? So you learn how to check your tire pressure. Well, what else?
You don't have to worry about being on the side of the road and worry about how much gas. The wider concept is, for me, I just do it as a person because I like to make sure everything's safe about my car, and that's just me.
Okay. Okay, we'll
But
let that stand.
for safety is going to be
There
one
you
way.
go. Now you're getting into the broader context.
Yes.
Good. Okay, anybody else? All right, let's give them a hand. Okay, that's gonna do it for today. No, wait, David, you're gonna go, right? You almost let me out of this whole situation. Get up there.
You know how I talked about last time, like, I kinda picked it out a little bit, so. Today I'm gonna be talking about how to lose weight in a healthy way and what not to do. So, I had a friend of mine, she was really close, she died from a eating disorder. So, it's kinda good for people to know how to, if they're gonna try to lose weight, to do it the right way, because it can be very dangerous. So, it's pretty simple, but it's not. So it's a calorie deficit. Calorie deficit is you eating less calories than your body needs, so that your body fills out that little gap with the fat in your body. So if you want to figure out how many calories you need to eat in a day, you go to a BMR calculator online, You can just look up BMR calculator. You'll find there's a lot of them. It stands for basal metabolic rate. So that's what you look for. You're gonna put in all the numbers. You gotta be honest, all right? Because you wanna get all the accurate information, and you'll get how many calories you need in a day. So now you're gonna just shave off like 200, 300 calories. I wouldn't do more than that because you're gonna start feeling like crap, and it kind of takes a toll on your body. So there's a lot of sites that can also help you find a diet plan for that. So meal prepping is very important because you don't want to be eating different things every day and just not know what you're eating. So dieting doesn't have to be boring. It's not salad. Salad is not going to do anything for you. So you're going to be eating cleaner foods like chicken breast and there's like a lot of healthy alternatives to like sodas. Like you don't have to be drinking water and eating leaves like a vegan. So nothing wrong with vegans. It's just like some people don't like that. So there's a diet soda. There's like sauces for your food that are low calorie. There's like low fat cheese and there's all that extra stuff. And there's some recipes online that are low calorie, like cakes or like fudge, like chocolate stuff. And you can find it anywhere, so you can put that into your meals. So I would recommend exercising. It's very important. It doesn't have to be running. You don't gotta go run every day. You don't gotta be running a marathon. It kind of sucks. Like I hate running. So it's better for you to go on a treadmill or go out on a walk and walk. Make sure you're breathing hard when you're doing it, but you're able to have a conversation while you're doing that. So do that for 30 to 45 minutes a day and eat your meals. Make sure you're tracking your calories. There's apps for that, like MyFitnessPal. And yeah, so don't starve yourself. That's bad, all right? So when I used to cut weight for wrestling, I used to starve myself, deprive myself of like salts so I could lose the water weight and it mess up my kidneys. I had a friend of mine in wrestling. He cut a lot of weight. He almost died from kidney failure. So it's very important for you to know. It's a delicate matter. It's just something that I feel like people should know. So it's like you don't gotta feel like you're gonna have to lose weight, but if you wanna do it the right way. I'm just giving you a little rough estimate of like what you need to do. It's really all up to you. Everyone's different. So yeah, any questions?
Questions. What about your global context?
Well, you don't want to die by trying to lose weight, or you don't want to feel like crap. If you want to, do something with your body. So
Long-term health.
yeah.
Okay.
Anything else?
Oh wait.
Have you ever tried the water method?
The what?
Where you drink like a gallon of water each day, and the last day you cut it completely.
Yeah, so like
Does
I
it
have a
work?
5 day plan for losing weight. So I usually like 5 days in, I cut my food by half, which is bad. Don't do that. Don't do any of this. And throughout day 5 to day 3, I drink like 2 gallons of water a day. And day 3, that's the last day I eat salts in my food. So day 2 is no salt, just food. And then the last day is no food, no nothing. Sweat. I'm usually feel like horrible. I lose about 20 pounds in a day. Not good, don't do it. Yeah, any other questions?
Good, let's hear it. Way to go, Dave. Okay, good job, everybody. Well, where's your visual?
Oh, I should have brought something. I'm gonna be like a Diet Coke or something.
Okay. Or you can pull up one of those sites, and show that on the screen if you need to. Okay, we have about 4 minutes left. We got through 8. We have 7 listed on Wednesday, so we might be able to get 1 or 2 more in on Wednesday. We'll just see how it goes, how everybody's speeches go. I thought everyone did a really, really solid job. A couple of overall notes I'd make is about our speaking voice while we are talking in public. And I might have made a note for a few on this. We have our casual talking tone that we have when we're talking to our friends or talking in the office and visiting with people. But when we speak in front of a lot of people, we want to raise our voice. So when you see somebody that you know, or maybe you don't even know them that well, you say hello, right? So let's say you're just giving a casual, positive hello to somebody. Let's all say it together. 1, 2, 3, hello. Right. Now, you've seen somebody you haven't seen in well, you're not 30 years old yet. You haven't seen them since high school. And they were one of your best friends, but you've gotten all apart and everything. And you see them for the first time. In a while, you're more like, hello. Well, let's do that. 1, 2, 3. Hello. Well, y'all aren't very excited to see your old friends, are you? You get the point, though, is we use different voices at different times. So in elementary school, we learn we have an inside voice and an outside voice. There's a classroom voice and there's a playground voice. So a few of you, what I'm mentioning to you is you've got to lift your voice. And that comes from air in your lungs and pushing it out. That makes the vocal cords reverberate and it gets the noise out. I made a couple of notes on folks. I would say Alyssa. Alyssa, you're naturally loud. Naturally loud. And you're talking about a subject you're very confident with, but you're a little shaky when you're talking. And so what I said on your critique was you'd have to fill your lungs with air. That way you can push that voice out there because you're naturally loud. A couple of you are not quite as loud. I'd mention, and not to pick on anybody here, was just making notes. Caden, Jasmine, you could have been a little bit louder. Maybe one or two other people I mentioned. Actually, David, I thought you could have been maybe a little bit louder. You know when you got louder was when the AC came on. You knew, hey, there's a noise. I need to be louder than that. So I want you to think in terms of practicing where you're speaking to a group of people, go ahead and use a little bit louder voice so you can cut through any extra noises. I was really happy with the ums and uhs. The champion today only had 3. Way back in the early part of the semester, it was 12 or something like that. I thought you did a really good job there. I liked how a couple of you, Marianne Bailey, brought up ChatGPT, putting an image in ChatGPT and getting feedback from that. And I thought that that was really interesting. I like the incorporation of AI. Something I'd say to Alyssa and all of us, no sorry. Your body hears you. Don't put yourself down. So don't say I'm sorry or I'm stupid or any of that. You didn't say that, but your body hears you. I thought Hunter did a good job in the moment where he kind of lost his place. And I thought I heard a bare while he was trying to figure things out, but he didn't throw in a lot of ums to fill in that space. So I thought that that was good. I want all of you to think about something I made on one person's critique, and that's putting melody in your voice and not being a monotone speaker. Add some variety, some pitches, highs and lows. So you're not singing up here, but you want it to be a little more diverse. I like the health talks. Oh, special terms. PSI, Hunter brought PSI. When you introduce a term like PSI, you want to tell us what that is. And it seems very common to Alyssa to say withers, but you want to break that what that is. A lot of us who aren't around horses all the time might not know. I think that's about all I wanted to get to as general concepts. We only have about 30 seconds left, or 15 really. So we'll come back on Wednesday. We'll do everybody that's on the list, and we'll try and get our extra one in at the end of that. So good job, everybody, today, and I have your critique sheets for you so you can take these and see what you need to work on for next week. See ya.